So I'll show you some of the extra things that I've included with this that are related to that. First, I have included this is where things get fun. This is the fun, uncharted territory of these templates. So first off, we have film tools. In film tools, you have lights and grip. These are lights that I modeled after I did a basic modeling. They might not be perfect. I tried to do as best as possible in a short amount of time, but it should feel like the light. So you have a general light panel, which is this light panel up here. And this is just the lights hitting a white background so that you can see exactly what shape they are. And then I have a model of a sky panel 360, S360, that is represented in nice sky panel blue. And then on the ground, I have a gridded version of it. So you can just, you know what I mean? You can just drop this light in and, you know what I mean? You have, if you go here, you have all your settings. So I can make it super bright. I can change the color of it. I can make it white. I could lose all the saturation and then just control the color temperature of it. And then that goes for the same for all of the lights that are here, that I have here. And then I'll show you a little goodie. God darn it. Gosh dang it. So then I have a model of the Aperture Nova. Yeah, in nice little aperture gray here. And then you'll see this is what it looks like smashed against the wall. And that's about the size of it. And then how much like diffusion it has from the outside. And then here is on the floor here, there's the gridded one that has a quote unquote grid around it. It's really just a really big barn door. But as you can see, you get closer here, you can no longer see them. Just for people that, and then also it has less, it's more focused light for people that don't know DP stuff. And, but I'm doing this for the DPs, you know what I mean? I'm doing this for the filmmakers that understand what an Aperture Nova is. With version 2, I hope to have DMX control of these with just like under $500 in equipment, you know what I mean? A DMX converter, and then starting to add blueprints and possibly app control to be able to control your DMX lights and these lights all in one go, so that you can control your whole entire set from Unreal Engine, from an app, or the controller, or whatever you want to do. And then I have a Kino flow. I have a couple Licos that are modeled to the correct light beam angle and like light dispersion of a Lico. So tools that my favorite is this one that I set to tungsten. It's just kind of kicking some light into the background here. You can see it, the reflection here. All right, and then I have Kino flow tubes. They're kind of not totally a Kino flow tube, but it'll get you by. And if you have a real life Kino flow tube and you want the reflections of it in your virtual scene, it will do the job. It will look like a Kino flow tube. And then I have a gridded one, which you can see on the ground, which you can see once you get close to it, you can no longer see the light of it. And then grip is real fun. So this is a 12 by 12 diffusion, but really it is just a light. So you can see, I'll show you in the top, it is above this set. See the reflection of it here?
Yeah.
I can drag one out and show you, you know what I mean? It is just a big monster light that is very big. And you know, will give you a very wide light source.
And it's pointed straight to the ground, or it's just the box?
It's pointing straight out right now, and then it's going through the ground now. Actually, yeah. Wait, maybe is this pointed? I still have a little trouble controlling these. I think it's just right above the ground, pointing that way. And then you can see the reflection of it. So that's it. But there is one currently over top of the set over here that you can see in the reflection of this. And then my favorite thing that I've added to this whole entire thing, this is my favorite thing, is I added some unbleached muslin, a 12 by 12 of the exact color, temperature, and tint change that unbleached muslin will do. I mean, it's not going to give you the beautiful texture that unbleached muslin does, but it will give you that same look for DPs that know what that looks like. And then you can see that above the set over here. That is what's lighting this main set, along with that tungsten Lico in the background there. Little pops of orange. And then I have a flag, which is basically just a 4x4 flag of this. And then I have a 4x4 floppy, which is this, which you can use to block light or, stop. It doesn't, I don't think it really stops. It may stop bounce. Still working on that. It's just a fun little thing to play with and see what you can do with for right now. And then I have a 12 by 12 flag, which is this. And then I believe there's actually another one living over top of this set, which is blocking some of the light that is coming in from the sky to create a harder shadow, just like you would do in real life. And that's it for the lights and film tools. Next is, so let's get into this. This is the Vive focus tracker control. This will be coming with this, and I'll show you how to set it up right now. So you're gonna wanna, I already brought that into my set. I like to try and move, you know what I mean? Try and move things into their respective places so you can have, organization of your set. So all of the controls, I like to keep in my control folder so that when I'm here and I'm like, okay, I need my control stuff, it's here. I need my film tools, it's here. Your film tools is even broken down into grip and lighting. You don't have to do that on set. I just like, on your virtual sets, but you can try and keep it organized. At least that's what I would try and do. So what you're gonna do now, so I just brought in Vive Tracker Focus. What this is gonna do is it's gonna take the information from a Vive tracker, which I'm gonna show you how I have it set up right now, and converts it into focus data, focal distance data for your virtual camera. And I have this pretty much set up. I mean, you can mess with it or make changes to it, but I pretty much have it set up ready to go. Should be ready to go out of the gate. You may have to play with some settings. So the first thing you're gonna do once you pop this in, and the same thing you're gonna have to do once you pop any of these in, is you're gonna need to tell it what camera you want to control the focus of, and then you tell it what tracker ID. So then when you come back here, so now that I have, I'll turn my controller back on. So I have my controller ID, and then I have my tracker ID now. So once my tracker is on and running, and the Steam VR is recognizing it, sometimes it takes a little messing around, to get Steam VR to talk to everything properly. So that's why I'm just not even getting into that today. So now you have your address here. You're gonna wanna open your config file and make sure that this address, you know what I mean? You gotta make sure that this, your Vive tracker, and if you want to, you can copy and paste it. Say you have two Vive trackers. You want one to be, on your camera, and you want one to be here. You can just, make those changes, hopefully based on what I've told you here. So just make sure that this lines up with your address, and then make sure that this lines up with your IP address right here. And then this will auto default when you drop it in to Vive Tracker, because that's what I have set up. So when this happens, it's going to print out what the focus is, what the focal distance is, so that you can see it. So if you're like judging by eye or doing something like that, you know where you are in the virtual world, as well as, you know what I mean, to match up the real world. Once I show you how it runs, I'll give you a little more on how I have that set up. So that print screen, the color of it is controlled here. Say you have a dark scene and you want it bright, or say you have a light scene and you want it dark, you can just change that here. You can change color, whatever. So what I have set up right now, if you look over at the small screens on your right, what I have set up right now is a Vive Tracker on a little rig that I built out of small rig parts. And then that is connected to a Nucleus Nano motor. And then when I turn the Nucleus Nano motor, it turns the Vive Tracker. It's up to you to build a rig like this. I'm sure you could cobble together some parts. I'm probably not going to put a list of parts for this because I don't remember what they are and it would take entirely too much time. So just understand that that is what is currently running this, and I'll show you how to like calibrate that when we actually run this. But that circle can only turn so much, and if you have it at its base number and your circle's small, you will have to, your gear is small, you'll only be able to go from 0 to 150 centimeters away. You know what I mean? You won't be able to go further than that. So with this setting, I have a multiplier, which is basically multiplying the size of your wheel. So when you turn it far enough, so with my setup, I get from 0 to like 300 or 400 centimeters away, which is like about how far an LED wall would be. So let's run it, and then I'll show you how it works. So now I have my camera just pointed at that screen, and you can see on the screen, my main screen, that it is printing out the focal distance. So what I generally like to do, I think where it's at, it doesn't get the best tracking information. You want to have this away from your setup, but still very well in the sight of your stuff. So what I like to do is I like to bring it all the way back to its starting point, and you'll see it jump there, and then turn the Vive Tracker. I'll show you what I'm doing here. This is how I like calibrate it for right now. I mean, you can buy another motor and then have this motor actually go on to a camera, and then you would just have to calibrate the points of how much this turns the actual lens and how much this turns this. But for right now, what I'm doing is I'm just turning this until I get to my 0. And then I know that now when I turn this, so that's about at my 0. So now when so now you have focus control here. And it's a little more responsive when you are actually like you're tabbed to the actual screen. But yeah, nifty. I hope people have fun with that and are able to get some good use out of it. That's the only like calibration tools I've messed with that. I don't have, oh yeah, so I am selected on the nDisplay. You can hit escape most of the time when you're in nDisplay to be able to exit. I generally, for redundancy, like to hit kill even after I've hit escape so that I make sure that it is down and you don't have any issues. So yeah, so next in the thing, I'm not gonna get into these deeply, but what this does, this is gonna be the same thing. You can put it into your controls. This controls the projector mesh. So, I mean, I could actually demonstrate it for you right now, real quickly. I'm gonna delete the Vive tracker because I'm gonna use that same tracker to do this. And what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna make that tracker, this is so that if you run a LED wall with some panels and you want to be able to update the panels in real time, you should be able to do it. Did that work? Oh, nope. It just, I probably didn't hit save. Make sure you hit save. Unless you're running multi-user, which I would like to show you guys multi-user, but okay. So what that should be doing is taking your tracker and setting it to your projector mesh, which is in here. It's setting it to this. If you want to change that, I'll show you how to change it. You will just have to go into the blueprint. Oh, I'm sorry. This might actually be a little confusing, but you should be able to just go into the blueprint here and then go to the work monitor reference and write get, and then whatever, oh, it's controlling the iMac. Yeah, so it's controlling the iMac. So let's say I wanted to change it to the projector. You would have to get, is this it? Yeah, get projector, and then that grabs the mesh, and then you just put that into these perspective places and you remove this one. So if you change the name of the mesh or something, that should update in real time, the reference. But if you delete it and create a new one or do something like that, you'll have to come back in here and do this. This blueprint is a little more complicated of a setup than some of the other blueprints that we have here, just because it's a little more advanced if you're going to be running it on floating real-time rendering LED panels. So this is the control. So if say if I delete this, which, you know what I mean, you can delete for any reason, you can bring this back in here, and then this will be the same thing. You just tell it what you want. All the defaults should be good to start with. You can fine tune them, and then you can save them if you want. I'm just going to delete that because I already have it in there. This is the camera tracker that we've already set up and talked about. And then this is my last little trick. This is the light tracker. So this will, you go into here and you say, I want to control a Nova panel. And this is going to give you all the things that are actually in your scene. I mean, you can technically control anything you want with this blueprint, which is dangerous, but I'm going to control this Nova panel that I have. And then I should be able to hit save. And then in theory, my tracker will control a light panel. And I should be able to, let me make sure that my frustum's here so that we can actually see what's going on. Yeah, see the red? Yeah, I'm shining the panel at him. Might be shining, yeah. And then I could walk across the room. It looks better in the actual reflections of the calibrator and the ball, but so that's another thing. To be able to move your stage around without using the controller, you're going to want to select your default pawn and then move that to wherever you want. So if you hit G, it takes on and off the game mode, which is like this is what it looks like for your game, and this is what it actually looks like with all your components in there, your assets and actors. So then you're going to want to move your floor. This is why we put the floor in there for a reference. You're going to want that to line up with your floor. And then you're going to want to put this to wherever you want. So I'm going to try and get this projector set up to be kind of back where it was. And then you can say, okay, now I have these meshes. I can figure out where everything is. I want to put this ball back into my screen. And then, you know, and then have this set up here. And these are just calibration tools. If you get close to the triangles and they don't look right, something's wrong. If you get close to the ball and it doesn't look right, something's wrong. You're going to need to adjust where that mesh is in the space or do a room setup. Yeah, I think that's